Hello, bitches. Welcome back. I have a very special guest. Who's my very special guest?
What's up, motherfuckers? I'm back!
We're both
Bitch.
back. We're back together. This is like the first time in so long that we've recorded together. I don't even remember the last episode that we did together, if I'm being honest.
It was us talking about our relationship and how great it was and like our plans for the future. It was our coffee talk.
That's awkward.
I actually looked up what the last episode we did was before this.
So for you, those of you that don't know, we consciously uncoupled. We are back together. We consciously recoupled, and
A little
we're
while ago
thriving
now. Yeah.
yet again. Woohoo! Yeah, so we're
Beaches.
definitely, doing the damn thing again.
Yes, we
Both of
are.
us living in San Diego. And Len,
Sunny
how
dude.
just a brief update. What are your like how do you like living in San Diego? Like give a life update. Like what's been going on
Dude,
with
I'm
you
just
since
I'm
like
just broke as fuck. I live in the most expensive city
yeah.
in the country. Pay exorbitant amounts of money. All I really do is work and surf and eat Mexican food. And see you and my friends. But yeah, I'm just broke. It's mainly broke.
Yeah, that's so fair. I mean, I think that's definitely like your 20s though, like and I don't really
I don't
like
want it to be. I wish I was rich. I want to be a trust fund baby. The fuck you mean? I
no.
want to
And
be Nepo baby, trust fund baby. I want to jet to Europe at a moment's notice. Like I want to be rich.
okay. I'll keep that in mind when I'm like asking the universe for like wishes. When I'm asking a
Yeah.
genie for a wish, I'll be like, make Glenn a Nepo baby. Like, what do you want to
No,
be
not
known for?
Nepo.
What do you
I
want
just
your
want to be like
family
that
to be known
trust
for?
fund kid. Oh, I want to be like
Okay.
like oil tycoons, like old money oil tycoons that like are just like dumb rich.
Okay. So you don't care if your family is like a part of the, killing of the world.
Nah, the world's already dying. That sounds a lot worse than it's supposed to, but yeah,
I think like if people know your humor, they know you're kidding, but God, I
yeah,
hope they
yeah.
know your humor. We're like 2 minutes in and they're like, I'm done with this. This guy is shitty.
I'm not
So
shitty.
we're back. We are
Yes,
back. I didn't mean to cut you off from your I'm not shitty
it's
talk,
fine. You do it
but
all the
I
time, so it is what it is. She beats me. Um, I have no
we're
say
not
in this
we're
relationship.
starting this podcast over. Glad I'm doing it by
No,
myself.
this is great. This is great. I love this. I feel I finally have an outlet.
Okay. Um, I would like to say, give a little warning as of 3 minutes into this episode as to why Len and I are doing this instead of Joel and I. So, this week, Len and I are going to be discussing the movie When Harry Met Sally, which just happens to be actually, it's my favorite movie. It's my favorite rom-com. It's my favorite every genre movie. I love, like, it's just my comfort movie. I love it so much. Len knows this. Joel also knows this. So I specifically requested that I record this either by myself or with someone else other than Joel's because Joel decided that every single movie that we watch and we discuss on the podcast, he just absolutely obliterates. And I can't have him ruin this movie for me. So,
He's
welcome
just
my
a
special
ruiner.
guest back. He is a ruiner. Welcome my special guest, Len Zero. I wish I had like a yay, like that like that background sound that's like yay with like a bunch of people clapping. Wish I had that. Don't have it. Len is back, messing with something in the background. It's gonna be so annoying to edit this episode, but
That's not me.
here we
That's my
are.
cats. I
Okay,
have
well,
no. I can't control another living creature. I'm not a god. She has free will. It's Cheez It. She has free will.
so to start off this episode, I would like to give some background commentary on this movie. Meg Ryan is so fine. Oh my God. And I
How
say
did
this
I know you were
every
going to start
time.
with this? Yeah, I had a feeling you were just going to start with your lady boner crush on her.
Every time I watch this movie, I'm just like, oh my God, Meg Ryan in the 80s is so fine. And like she was in so many movies, but she's just so beautiful in this movie. Len, Give me some commentary. Initial first thoughts on Harry Met Sally.
Why does he spit the grape seeds? Like it makes no like eat the grapes.
But like, you don't want. When was the last time you ate grapes with seeds in them?
Never. So why was he like that? That was first of all that was my main issue. I don't know why he was eating grapes with seeds.
Because it was the 80s, and you're eating GMO, like genetically modified grapes, so they don't have seeds in them.
Yeah, but in the 80s they were all doing just a shit ton of yay. So I don't think my GMO versus their yay consumption. I feel like we're pretty even.
I'm not saying anything about your genetically modified intake. I'm saying that the reason why you only eat seedless grapes today is because they're all genetically modified grapes.
I still have an
And
issue.
the reason why he was eating grapes with seeds in them and spitting them out in a really bad form was because he didn't have another option.
Okay.
Next
Yeah,
topic.
no, Meg Ryan's hot. Carrie Fisher hot. Little butch, but I like it's Carrie Fisher. You can't go wrong
Yeah,
with her.
every time I watch this movie, I forget that Carrie Fisher is in it until like the ending of the movie, like the credits of the movie.
You just don't recognize Carrie Fisher. I think I just don't think you
I
like
don't think so,
can
no.
facially recognize her ever. But yeah, she's in it from like the beginning of the movie, like first 15, 20 minutes. She's like in it, and then she's in it for pretty much the rest of the movie. No,
No,
she's in
I
it up until the last scene. Like she's literally in it for 95% of the movie. Anyways, so yeah, Carrie
anyways.
Fisher's in the entire movie, and you just can't recognize her. I think is the deal.
I think yeah, I think I haven't watched Star Wars and like the original ones and recently. Like I watched them, but I haven't watched them recently. So I think that's one of the main reasons is why I can't like recognize her. But yeah. Okay, I have a series of questions I would like to ask you. That's how I'm gonna kind of do this When Harry Met Sally episode. Are you ready?
Yes, mine.
Any more initial commentary before we get right in?
Um, New York in the 80s seems like a great place for real estate, but a terrible place to live.
I
That's my last
like
comment.
okay. We'll come back to that because I also have comments on that.
Cool.
Do you think that Harry's character in the first couple of scenes is being that sort of like depressing-esque sort of character in order to gain Ritz? Like, was he doing that because he found her intimidating? Or was he doing it because he actually thinks that way?
I think he was just like people change. Maybe that's just who he was at the younger age, and then after growing up and spending time in the world, he kind of changed his outlook. But it also carries through pretty much the entire movie too. At least some of the things he was saying, like in the one of the main parts, he's talking about like how fucked up and like macabre he is, and the fact that he was just like, yeah, I always read the last page of the book first, so if I die while I'm reading it, I always know what happens. And part of the ending, like more the end of the series, he's reading a book and he reads the last page before.
Yeah, that was right when he picked up the phone when she called him about her ex getting married. And yeah, I
Yeah.
noticed that, but I feel like in some ways he changed as a person. I would definitely say that he didn't change in the first couple of like timelines, like the first 5 years or so, because he was still married to that one woman. I think she was a lawyer or something.
She fucked her
And
boss.
yeah, she did. You can definitely, like, as I was saying, I think that he definitely changes. Like, you can see his character change from the beginning of the movie to when he meets Sally and they actually start having a relationship. It's like you can see that dynamic that they have change, obviously, and as well as himself. Like, he has changed a lot throughout the movie. So I definitely say that's a major plot line, but I think that there was like obviously there's a main reason for that. Like this is a rom-com. Like this is, you know what I mean? Like this is something that you need to see his change in order to kind of like be on
Yeah.
his side as like a person that she should be with at the end. So,
Well,
do
I
you
agree.
think my next question is, do you think that her crazy orders are high maintenance? Okay. Do you think that she
Yeah,
has other
yeah.
do you think that
Because
she has
they're
other
just like
high
there's a
maintenance qualities?
if so, they're not portrayed in her character. For the main one is really just her ordering. It is god god awful. I'm glad you know how to order food properly. Um, because I would not. That would be like a lot even for me. Like that would be a little bit like,
Hmm.
especially since it's like every time. And her whole justification for it is I want it my way, and so that in and of itself is a very like kind of high
Hmm.
maintenance way of
I
thinking
would
about it.
agree. I definitely think that like her ordering is high maintenance, but I also am under the opinion like when you go out to eat, you want to get what you're paying for, if that makes sense. Like you obviously like you're paying for something to happen, and like it's kind of like if you go and like to In and Out and you ask for no tomatoes on your burger and they give you tomatoes on your burger. Like you're obviously either gonna like take it out or you're gonna ask for a new burger. So in my opinion, I think that like she definitely is a crazy order. Like it might be high maintenance, but I would say that like for her character, I think it's just like a flaw that's like, okay, that's kind of quirky, you know what I mean? And at the end he kind of brings it up and he's like, oh well, like this is part of the fact that I like this is one of the things that I love about you because you're so like quirky and cute.
Yeah, quirky again. I would say it would be going a little far, um, but it's definitely like a trait. So if someone can appreciate or learn to love
Okay,
over
my
a
next
vast amount of
question
years.
is, do you think, and this is just going off of the conversation that we're having right now, um, what makes a high maintenance person?
That
The
is
person that's
subjective to the
dating or
person.
like
I don't think
subjected to
what I
who?
would,
The person who's dating the person? Okay.
but either or, because like, do you like it would be like, would you consider yourself high maintenance, or would you like because there are people who are like I'm a high maintenance bitch, and who own that, and that's totally fine. But then there's other people who don't think they're high maintenance but have high maintenance features, qualities, or things of that nature. So I think it's dependent on the person you're dating,
I
and
would
other
definitely say
factors
that
that go
like
into
if
it.
you're in the right relationship, you your partner doesn't find your qualities high maintenance and they don't think that they're flaws in you. They're you know
Yes,
what I mean? Like I feel like a lot of people say
they're quirky. That's it's like you with stealing all
that's
the
not
sheets and
quirky.
sleeping
I'm just
diagonally in the
not
bed.
used to sharing a bed with anyone.
Nope,
Okay.
that is
That's
quirky. That's quirky. That's quirky because you push me to this edge of the bed and
I
steal every single cover possible. I'm stark naked on the edge of the bed, and you're just
a
cuddled up like
burrito.
a burrito. A burrito.
Okay.
And that's quirky, and I love you for it. But God, God damn it! But I love you, and
Oh my
it's a
God.
quirky thing.
Okay. Um, age-old question. Can men and women be friends?
Yeah,
Okay.
my best friend is a woman.
Expand on that.
Most of my best
Expand on
friends
that. Do you
are
think that
women,
all men
actually.
can be friends with women?
No, most men are douchebags and like awful and only want to fuck things. I guess that's the like most PG way I can put it. If I'm being completely honest, most men just want to put their dicks in shit and then do stuff. Like that's really how most men think. And so I don't think all men can have female friends, but I think if they are decent humans and like don't just want to fuck things, they can probably get away with it and have like very successful and long term relationships
Do
that
you
are
think
platonic with
that
females.
Harry in this movie learned that, or do you think that, he, okay, okay.
Yes, I think he learned the lesson before he ended up figuring out he was in love with her. Like I think he very easily transitioned into them just being friends, and they did have a very strong platonic relationship until you know they ended up sleeping together. And then that changed things, I think, on both sides for them. Like, I don't think either of them walked into that night, like, wanting the sex and wanting that. I think it was kind of just what happened in the moment, and then the relationship changed from there. But I think they had a very healthy platonic relationship
I
up
see
until
things a
then.
little bit differently. I felt as if Harry definitely was in love with her the entire time and didn't like necessarily process it until the very end. And I'm not saying that men and women can be friends. I'm just saying that in this specific situation, he started off and he said women and men can't be friends, and he kind of stuck to that. And so I think that it's a case by case situation. I'm not saying that one man can't be friends with some women and can't can be friends with others. I would say that like I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is that in this specific situation, he couldn't be friends with her. And he made that abundantly clear at the beginning, but he didn't necessarily process the fact that he was in love with her until the end. Like he thought that they were friends, but he was actually in love with her.
I'm going to disagree with you, but that's just because I see the story of it differently than you, I guess. I think you're coming at it from a cynical point of
How is
view.
that cynical? Like,
Not like cynical, but like, no, not like cynical, but like the other side. Like, I definitely think the movie wasn't even trying to, like, I think they were trying to say, like, there was a healthy relationship, but you could fall in love with someone. You could fall in love with a friend. Not the fact that they were in love the whole time. It was that, you could have a relationship with someone and then fall in love with them later. Like, I think it was coming from a point of like people can say things, people can change, but then they can also change their mind
okay,
about how they're feeling. I think it was like more of like a tiered situation rather than a one or the other. Like you're seeing it very
yeah,
like what black or white, not like color wise, but like just perception of it. And I think the movie is talking about the entirety of the movie is talking about the gray. It's talking about, how things aren't always one or the other, and you can have like this relationship, but you can also change your mind and how you're feeling. And it's kind of going through that while they're both dealing with their own things, going through relationships, having their own internal struggles with how they're feeling and if they're what they're ready for, and all this, and this, up until the very end
okay. Do you
when they figure
think,
it
from
out.
this perspective, do you think that they were platonic soulmates for a while?
Yeah. I mean, you have platonic soulmates. I have platonic soulmates. Like, you have these people in your life that are just your friends and you can love them, but it doesn't have to always be like a sexual love. Like, it can just be like a platonic love,
Okay,
like
then I
a
definitely feel like I
familial
would
love.
change my answer. Because if we're going off of like platonic soulmates versus being in love, Len is celebrating right now. Um,
Boom.
I would definitely say
Boom.
that they were
Ah,
like
ah.
platonically in love because now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, okay, like they slept together and they both thought that it was a mistake. And then they came back around and they kind of changed their mind because Harry was like, okay, like I am in love with you. But I'm thinking about it from Harry's perspective because from Sally's perspective, she kind of held it against him after they slept together. And it kind of felt like she obviously had feelings when they slept together. So, how would you talk about it in that way?
I'm just going to say that there's the difference between when men and women have sex. There is a very large difference in, emotions and stuff that play into that.
I would say,
Like in the moment, when men and women are having sex, they're in completely different headspaces. They have different emotions that are attached to it, and they have different emotions when it ends, especially when it's something that wasn't supposed to happen and you don't know exactly how you fully feel about it. There's a very big difference on how people will react and handle a situation like that. And I think that is what the movie's portraying, is how different men and women can be when it comes to a situation like that. Not in like a bad way, but just highlighting it.
I would disagree
Why?
with that. I think that I wouldn't just leave it up to biological standards. Like, I definitely think that there are different, like, biological things that happen inside men or people with uteruses versus people that produce sperm. Like I would definitely say that there's a large hormonal difference when people are having sex. I agree with that. But I don't think that that is true in every single case. You can see that, for instance, women having casual sex. They don't fall in love with every single person that they're having sex with. So, how do you explain that?
Because these two individuals weren't having casual sex with anyone. They never were, especially from this, in this certain circumstance, that was not her mojo. She was not someone who had casual sex at all. Versus Harry, who didn't have meaningful sex. Pretty much his entire point after he got divorced was he was having sex with everyone he can. His whole thing was having sex with these women and feeling awful about it and not wanting to see them and stuff like that. Versus her was, I can't just do that. Like, I have to have a connection there. Like,
Okay.
I'm just talking
I get what
movie
you're saying.
specific, let alone life
Yeah.
specific, because there's so many different people, but what we know for sure is how these people were feeling.
Okay. Okay, I get what you're saying. Um, my next question kind of plays into this one, so I'm just going to ask it, which is like, how long do you need to mourn a relationship before you think that like it's acceptable to
Move
move
on in
on?
what capacity? Physically, emotionally?
Any capacity. I would say any capacity. I just honestly want to hear like your perspective on it because I know that like obviously it's different to physically move on than it
Yeah,
is to emotionally move
definitely.
on. Let's go with emotional.
Okay.
Let's just go with emotional.
I think that is completely dependent on the relationship. I think there's cases for any amount of time, depending on how the relationship was, how long you guys were together, how emotionally safe you felt, and like a bunch of other like emotional factors and like personal factors that went into the relationship. I think you can go from anywhere from 2 weeks to 3 years. Like I think, or there's some people who just don't fully recover from a relationship when it's like love or when it was like a marriage or something like that. People sometimes just don't fully recover from something like that and kind of have to like always working through something. So I think it's very dependent when it comes to the emotional side of it on the person, what they're doing to help heal themselves, how they feel, like just things in general like that. Physically, about 2 days.
Okay.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I think
I can't say that. I,
I would
it was. I can't say that at all. That's not the person I am.
okay. I think that I definitely like agree with that. It depends like it's a case by case situation. And I definitely think that even like the case by case situation, like it depends on the person, but it also depends on the person's situation. So like for instance, I feel like a lot of people that I know, including myself, sometimes in, let's just say, like abusive situations or just unhealthy relationships, kind of tend to get over the relationship while it's still happening. So it feels like we might have moved on a lot quicker than we did to the rest of the world, but to us, we have moved on 6 months prior. You know what I mean? And not in a physical capacity, just slowly emotionally detaching yourself I feel like happens a lot more than people like to recognize.
Definitely.
Um, so I think that in the sense that when Sally was mourning her relationship for so long and she wasn't able to move on, was I think that it was just she thought that she was going to be in it for the rest of her life, and she definitely needed that time to get over it, and she did it in a healthy way. I would say on the other side of things, Harry did it in the way that he was best coping with it because it was definitely like it seemed like Sally had a subtle getting out of her relationship, but Harry in his divorce it was like a flip switched and he um it was very quick and that was his way of dealing with it emotionally as well as obviously physically with was him moving
Yeah.
on physically in multiple times.
Yeah.
Would you want someone to ruin your birthday in order to get the truth about your marriage? So, this is another spoiler. When he's at the football game and he's talking about his marriage with his ex wife, he's talking to his best friend, Harry is, and he's like, well, she would have told me a week before when she decided to call the movers, but she didn't want to ruin my birthday. So, would you want someone to ruin your birthday or wait to tell you about the fact that they wanted to end your marriage?
That's a good question, actually. Like, no matter what, you're something's getting ruined. Yeah, tell
Yeah.
me after my birthday. You know what? Yeah, tell me after my birthday. Let me at least enjoy one thing before you just decide to ruin my life. Yeah, I'm good with that. Yeah, I would. I would let her. I would be like, wait till after my birthday at least. Like, let me enjoy the day. Whatever. Maybe some top or something to
Okay.
make smooth it over a little bit more, so I can't be too mad. But make it at least a good birthday.
Oh
Make it
my God.
make the birthday worse,
Yeah.
like worth what you're doing, pretty much.
So, would you pretty much, want your birthday ruined as well, or would you want to like know afterwards?
I think I would want to know afterwards. Like I would want my birthday to be my birthday and then I would want that bad news to be after. I wouldn't want to associate my birthday on the next year with, bad news. I wouldn't want to be like, "Oh yeah, that was the day I got divorced last year. That was the day that we started the divorce process last
Yeah,
year."
don't divorce me on my birthday. I mean, that's pretty fair.
Your birthday's 4/20 and it's also Hitler's birthday, so
You and your brother both bring that up all the time. It's annoying. Uh,
thank you. Thank you for calling me and my brother annoying.
well, I
Appreciate it.
love you guys. You guys know how much I love you guys. But I'm not Hitler, and
I'm
all
not
I
saying you are.
then there's no comparison. We just have the same birthday.
Okay. I will, keep that in mind the next time I don't bring up Hitler's birthday.
Thank you. Oh my God.
You're welcome. Um, how would you feel if someone took a hair out of your head and flossed with it?
I would absolutely probably haymaker the fuck out of them
What does that
immediately.
mean?
Punch them as hard as physically possible upside the head. Like uppercut from hell.
Okay. You remember what scene I'm talking about where Sally's like, "Oh," Harry's like, "How did your date go?" And she was like, "Oh, well, somebody took hair out of my head. Like the guy that I was on a date with took hair out of my head and started flossing with it, right?"
Yeah, absolutely haymaker.
Okay.
Uppercut from hell.
I'll
Just
remember
my
not to do
entire
that to you.
body weight into that. I would try to dislocate their jaw. That would be the most disgusting. Then I'd throw up on them after they're on the floor, like
Yeah,
half dead. Then I'd
that's
throw up.
that's pretty fucking foul. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely disgusting. Um, okay. Couple of questions. Last couple of questions I have for you. One,
Couples question. Wait, did you say couples questions or couple of questions?
couple of questions.
Oh. You can ask me some couple questions. I have this great girlfriend.
Is it easier to get over someone? Thank you. Is it easier to get over someone by fucking everyone or by taking your time and doing what Sally did, which was like going on a couple dates and just kind of figuring out what you want and
I think that is completely up to the beholder. I think I have no say to tell people how to handle their own trials and tribulations on how to handle relationships. I know how I've handled relationships ending in the past and what I did, but not everyone's me. And I'm not going to speak. I think whatever feels the best for you and whatever is going to make you happy, whether that is immediate sexual gratification from the hands of many other people and people that you never talked to or met or even know their name, that's totally fine. Or if you decide that you want to take your time, really get to know yourself, get back into therapy, maybe get a group of friends, play D&D a bunch, kind of take slowly, enter the dating scene again, and decide what you're kind of moving on to and forward. That could also be a great thing and really like connect with yourself and get better. That could be great. I think it just depends on what the person wants and what the person thinks they need. Because I've done both.
I would definitely say that like for my POV, I think it depends on the person and I think it depends on the relationship. I think that, I've seen a lot of my friends like get cheated on and then they'll just jump into having like extremely sexual situations. I've also seen friends that have, gotten out of really long-term relationships do that. And vice versa. So I would say that it honestly depends on the person. It depends on what they need. Going through a breakup is awful. Going through a breakup is, like if you thought that you were going to spend a longer period of time with this person or, be extra serious with that person and get married to them or whatever the case might be, breakups are very heartbreaking. You're taking someone out of your life that, obviously had a huge role in it. So, whatever feels best, I think, is the best recommendation. Like, I'm not in a place here to judge anyone on their like decisions that they made during the breakup process. Like, it's obviously very, very hard, and I would say just do what feels right in the moment.
I agree.
Um, and
Like,
definitely like
yeah.
focus on healing yourself and focus on,
Or don't and
um,
just have a bunch of sex. Do whatever you want. Live your life. Wear a condom, but live your life.
what I'm saying is that could be a part of the healing process.
Yeah, but
So,
it also doesn't need to be. If you just don't want to feel anything and just have a bunch of really weird and kinky and explorative and healthy sex, just
the condom or
to
the
fill a
sex?
void, just do that. Do whatever's gonna make you happy. It doesn't have to be healthy. It could be hate fucking, but just be safe and make sure that you're being true to yourself.
Ah, so true. We love this positivity, this sex positivity.
And if you're
Okay,
doing anal, use lube.
my last question. Do you think that friends can platonically kiss on the lips?
This is hard because I have kissed a decent amount of my friends. I have kissed, whether it was experimental or just for shits and giggles or drunk or out of just passion or a lot of reasons they've happened. Um, and this is not just female friends I've had. This is also male friends. I've kissed a very large amount of my male friends. Mostly out of spite, but nonetheless,
You see the girlfriend sitting right there. Oh, you want to do this? Don't. Mwah!
that did happen with a guy named Kyle, uh, and they were just we were egged on by the girl he was talking to, and me and him looked at each other and gave just a very passionate, like there was love in that kiss. It was great.
Good.
I really appreciated it. Um, but I think it depends. I think it can be because like I've kissed some people who I'm still friends with today on the lips, and it was never weird afterward, but it was also like never like a relationship thing, I guess. It
But
was just there's reasons for it that came out of for different reasons. So I
yeah,
never thought it was like a romantic thing at the time. It was kind of just like, oh, me and this person kissed. Cool.
I think I'm kind of asking it from the sense of like, can there be reason to platonically kiss your friend in order to show comfort?
Yes, absolutely. I feel
Okay.
like a kiss is a very close and intimate thing, and if you want to show that level of what am I trying to say? That level of
Connection or support?
connection, support, love, like even just like a platonic love that you have for that person can be shown through small intimate acts like cuddling, holding hands. You platonically hold hands with friends, you like when you're walking down the street or something like that, or when you guys are watching a movie together, sometimes you'll snuggle up, or like maybe
Yeah.
sometimes you'll give them a kiss on the cheek, or sometimes it's a kiss on the lips depending on how close you and that friend are. So I think it's very much a show of intimacy, not in the romantic way, but in the way of just showing love that you have for that person in an intimate way so they know like how you feel.
Okay. I think that's a good perspective. I definitely think that it can be done. I wouldn't say that it can be done in every situation though.
No, definitely not.
I
I
think that
agree.
a lot of people don't understand, like a lot of people associate kissing with sexual situations. And I would definitely say that in order to,
um, make sure that there are no boundaries crossed, that both parties have to be aware that this is just a solely platonic relationship. Like, I wouldn't want a situation where, like, I'm trying to comfort a friend of mine. Let's just say someone's going through a breakup. Like in the situation in the movie that I'm trying to like point out is when Harry goes over to Sally's house. She has just found out that her ex-boyfriend was engaged to somebody else, even though he had told her specifically that he never wanted to get married. Um, and Harry decides to kiss her to kind of comfort her in that situation. So I think it can be done, but I definitely think that boundaries need to be set up in order to and firm boundaries need to happen in order to understand on both parties POV that it is definitely going to continue to be platonic after this situation has happened. um I don't think that I could necessarily kiss any of my friends platonically. um
That
I
is
just
also who you are, though. Like, that's not like a weird thing for you. Just you're not the most like that type of intimate person. You show intimacy with your
Yeah.
friends in a completely different way.
Like,
Like that's
don't get
not
me wrong, like I kiss them on the cheek, I kiss them on the forehead, but all of those I consider like the most amount of comforting that I could give someone in
yeah,
a situation like that.
yeah. And I don't go around just kissing all my friends willy nilly. Like it is not an
It is special situations,
there
wink
are
wink.
special situations. I haven't kissed a homeboy or homegirl in a minute, but it's just happens sometimes, and I'm not. It's fine, I guess,
Yeah,
as long as you have those boundaries set up and you understand where it's coming from.
yeah. I would say I think the closest thing you can say to like having like a platonic situation is like, how girls like go to the club and they'll like make out with like each other in order to kind of get the attention of a guy.
Sure.
I'm taking this from a specific situation in Gilmore Girls. So this has not specifically happened to me, but it happened to Rory in Gilmore Girls. And Len is kind of giving me a questioning look because he came in way
I'm trying to
far in
remember.
the seasons and he
I'm
doesn't
trying
know
to
what I'm
remember
talking
the
about.
episode. I remember the episode.
No, no, it's okay. It's okay. It was way after or it was a couple episodes after you and I picked up Gilmore Girls. So you don't have to remember
Who
it. But
kissed?
she's in the
It was
club
during
and
spring break, and they were in like Florida or some shit.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I, was it Paris who kissed her?
Paris
Yeah,
kissed her.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and she decided that she was gonna kiss. Yeah, you have a really good
I remember
memory.
it.
Crap.
I was trying to remember. I was just I knew what you were talking about, but I was trying to remember like what the situation around it was. So
Yeah.
I had to like think for a second.
Um, but anyways, I think that that's like one of the only situations that I could like see myself being in a situation where it's like completely platonic. Everything, is gonna continue how it was after that happens. You know what I mean? But that's like probably one of the only situations that could happen in my life where I'm just like, you know what I mean?
I mean, I've gotten like drunk with my friends and like made out with them like in high school and stuff, or like, but never out of like lust or anything like that. It was kind of just like, hey, we're drunk. How fucking funny would this be if we started doing this shit? It would just like be random, like with me and my gay homies. That's all my lesbians. I had a bunch of lesbian friends, so just randomly would like that, or comforting them. Again, all mainly in high school, I was kissing a lot of my friends. Never really as an adult. I haven't kissed very many of my friends, maybe one or two. Uh,
Brian.
you're gonna have to bleep his name. So like every once in a while, but definitely like more high school. I would say I had those like, but that's also because I was young, trying to figure out a whole bunch of stuff, and I think everyone was, so it was a little bit more common.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still don't. I wouldn't see an issue like if I mean, I don't think I would seek it out because I'm in a relationship and we have clear boundaries with each other about that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. But if it happened and it was completely platonic, I don't think I would have an issue with it personally, just because that's just an intimate moment between me and my friend. But I think again, healthy relationships, healthy boundaries. Talk to your partners. Don't be
Yeah,
a douchebag.
Yeah, I think that they were both being douchebags in this situation because they were both in other relationships when this happened, and they ended up sleeping with each other because of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Was
I
it?
think that that's like adds on like a whole different level to this. Remember, they all go to Carrie Fisher and Harry's
No,
friend.
I don't think they were together. I think they both like broke
They were
up
just
after that.
casually dating.
Yeah, I think they
Those
were just
people?
casually dating. I don't think they were in any serious relationships or it was like an issue.
Well, they don't really specify that, do
They
they?
don't they barely specify jack shit in the entire movie. They just skip Hilly Billy, willy nilly all over that bitch.
They don't get Haley Billy, let me tell you that. They're not messing around with their cousins. So,
That's just a you
last,
thing.
bleeping that out. Um, last, I guess this is my actual last final question. What is your overall rating of this movie? You don't have to like say anything to like ease me. Like you cannot let like I don't think that
6.5 out of 10.
okay. Okay. What would have made it better?
I think a more concise storyline, like not jumping, like they never really explained all the jumping in most of the film. Like most of it, like at the beginning, it was like made somewhat sense, but when they were like during their friendship, they just kept like jumping and never really specifying like what was going on. So it kind of felt like you were just like, and you never really
Okay.
got full feel of what was happening. I loved the ending though. The ending was cute. I would keep
Yeah.
the ending the same. I would get rid or fix the wedding scene because I feel like it was unnecessary.
You're talking about their friend's wedding scene where they're like
Yes, they're
yelling at each other.
fighting the entire time. I feel like
Yeah.
that was a necessary fight for them to have, but I feel like it was unnecessary in the way that it was like portrayed, especially because she was being catty and he was just trying to talk about it.
Yeah.
So I feel like they could have came at that in a more because they were friends for so long. I don't think that would have went that way. So I feel like they should. I would like to see that remedied. Um, and better cinematography. It was just not a great cinematography film.
It was in the 80s,
Yeah,
bro.
it doesn't matter. You know what else was in the 80s? Can't think of anything off the top of my head. I should have been prepared for that question.
I think that it's a great film. I think you're right. Like there is obviously some flaws to it. Every movie has flaws. I personally like the cinematography because it's in the 80s. It kind of brings you back, especially watching it now. It brings you back. You know what I mean? I wasn't born in the 80s. I don't know what it was like. They kind of romanticized New York in the 80s, which I loved.
I want those
Um,
that apartment with those windows.
oh my God, yeah. Harry's apartment. Oh my gosh. Ah, so pretty. But overall, I think this is a great movie. I still really enjoy it, even after talking about it. So that's a
I
plus.
enjoy it. It's a good movie. I
Yeah,
definitely would watch it again with you.
yeah.
I know I'm gonna definitely watch it again with you. So
I
it's
think that
just
my favorite part of the movie is just having those like actual love stories like plopped in throughout the
yeah,
movie.
those are really cute.
Yeah, I think that having those, I
And
would
with
say
theirs, yeah.
that one girl that keeps interrupting her husband in that one love story drove me freaking insane. And I was like, if I was in that relationship, I'd probably bop her up the head.
Uh, Editor, whoever's gonna edit this, Joel or Naomi, can you please put a marker, like a count somewhere of how many times Naomi interrupted me during this?
You interrupted me too, but like, okay. Audience, thank you so much for coming back, listening to our episode. We appreciate you so much. Len obviously appreciates you listening to my podcast.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for giving, uh, her attention when I can't. I really appreciate you guys, picking up the slack. It was a
Um,
long couple of months, and I get it, and I'm sorry for really just dumping her on you guys, but I needed some time. I'm back. I'm stronger than ever. We're back, and we're stronger than ever.
true.
Shout out to Chris, my therapist. And yeah,
Yeah, we would like to say enjoy your week, wear a condom, grow a mustache, and we love you very much. Bye.
if you do anal, use lube. Bye.